I am happy to be able to present satellite IoT company Wyld Networks and CEO Alastair Williamson to the studio. Hello and welcome, Alastair.
Hi Matthias, thanks very much indeed.
You've been listed at Nasdaq First North Growth Market since 2021, and it's been happening a lot since then. Could you start off by giving us a short introduction or pitch, if you like?
Yeah, absolutely. So Wyld Networks is a virtual satellite IoT operator, and if I just explain what the problem we're actually solving, and it will give our listeners an idea of what Wyld actually does. So by 2028, there's going to be about 46 billion IoT sensors deployed every year, and these are sensors measuring temperature, water content, humidity, in a whole range of different applications. The problem is that only 15% of the world's surface has access to the internet. So if you're deploying any of those 46 billion IoT devices in the 85% of the world's surface that's got no access to the internet, it won't work. So basically what we did, we came up with this whole concept of basically using satellites to collect data from IoT devices. And satellites provide 100% global connectivity. So we launched a service to basically go to our customers to offer them a solution to allow them to deliver data from all of their IoT sensors anywhere in the world.
This is so amazing. I'm so excited about all this. But the key point, what is your business model and how do you make money?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, and it really is quite simple. So we sell two components. We sell the hardware that connects to the IoT devices on the ground, and we sell two types of hardware. We sell modules and terminals. We sell the terminals for about $500 a terminal. And so that device collects the data from the sensors on the ground and sends the data to satellite. Satellite sends the data back down to another platform called Wyld Fusion, and then we provide that data to our customers. And our customers pay us up to $5 per terminal per month, and that's where we get our reoccurring revenues. So if you want to look at a different way, we're exactly like a mobile operator. So with a mobile operator, you pay a fixed fee for your mobile phone. Our customers pay a fixed fee for our terminal. And with your mobile phone, you pay $40 a month to your operator to use the network. Well, our customers pay us up to $5 per month to actually use the network. So it's a really simple business model, hardware and data revenue.
Okay, and to be a bit more specific then, could you give us a few use cases?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, you can imagine the majority of our customers have equipment and assets in the 85% of the world's surface where there's no access to the internet. So our main customer segments is agriculture, energy, oil and gas, utilities, water utilities, supply chain logistics and the environment. And so that's really the sector we're going after. But if I can give you an example of agriculture. So agriculture is responsible for using 70% of the world's fresh water. That's an incredible amount of water agriculture is actually using, and they're using it to irrigate, basically. Biggest problem is they're wasting about 30% of that water, and water is a precious commodity. So we've developed this solution using soil moisture sensors, IoT sensors, and we've got one customer that's got 90,000 farms, a very big customer by the way. They've got 90,000 farms, and they want to basically deploy probes or soil moisture sensors that go into the ground, and those probes measure the amount of moisture or water that's in the ground. They use the Wyld Networks solution to send the data to satellites, back down to ground, and then they can analyze to see, oh, there's moisture in that soil, we don't need to irrigate. So they're actually reducing the waste of water and also increasing the yield of crop by optimizing the irrigation. So that's one example, and that sort of does two things. It reduces the waste of water, increases the yield of crop, and it's obviously very beneficial for our customers to do so. If I give you another example, this is in the oil and gas place. There are literally hundreds of millions of miles of oil pipelines, and Chevron, one of our customers, wants to basically look at corrosion on pipelines. So he's deploying sensors that measures the humidity, temperature and water content in oil pipes. It's about every 500 meters. And they're using our equipment to collect that data, send it to satellite, back down to ground, and then Chevron can look at the moisture content and analyze the level of corrosion. So if the corrosion is getting pretty dangerous, they can go out and fix the problem before there's a leak and there's an environmental disaster.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. I know that you also have great potential partnerships. Could you elaborate a bit on this?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've signed up a lot of launch partners. We have about 50 partners in different segments, but I think the recent partnerships we talked about, one is with SpaceX, with Starlink.
The Elon Musk company.
Elon Musk's company. And basically, if you look at what they're doing with Starlink, they're basically providing satellite broadband, so connectivity for people. What we're doing is providing satellite connectivity for IoT devices. And so we're looking at how we can support, and SpaceX is working with us, Starlink's working with us to understand how we can support them in basically utilizing our technology so that they can offer an IoT service as well. So it's a great partnership. We're working really hard together, and I believe that journey with Starlink and SpaceX is really going to determine the future of Wyld's path.
Okay, and recently you added some new products to your portfolio. Are they connected to that, or what are they?
They're separate to that project. Initially, we supported the ISM band, which is a piece of spectrum in the 900 megahertz area, and it's really for very small amounts of data. This year we've launched an S-band solution that's going higher up in the frequency, so it can support greater data rates. So it can support about 100 times the data rate of an ISM product. So that allows us to offer new use cases to customers that want more data. And very recently we launched an L-band product, and the L-band product is about two-way communications, so that we can send data to satellites, but we can also send data down to the IoT devices, so we can switch things on, off, change pressure, change temperature, change humidity. So we're really looking at offering a full portfolio of products from low data, high data and two-way communications. And I think also quite importantly, we launched Wyld Fusion, our IoT platform, as well this year. And that is mainly because we were looking for a management and provisioning platform for satellite connectivity, and there wasn't one in the market, so we actually developed our own. And when we developed Wyld Fusion as a platform, we realized there's actually a separate market for that platform, and we're currently now marketing that hybrid terrestrial and satellite IoT platform.
Okay. Very interesting. And the company was started from Cambridge University. Is that where you still have your R&D, or where do you do that?
Yeah, we've got our R&D capabilities in Cambridge and also in Brighton as well. So we have two offices providing the R&D capability. Predominantly the hardware R&D capability comes out of Cambridge, and the software R&D capability comes out of Brighton. Okay,
and how will you keep ahead of competitors?
Well, that's really interesting. I think one of the key things you need to remember is the amount of development work we did to basically get our solution working. You know, if you remember that these satellites travel, they're about 700 kilometers up in the sky, and they travel at about 20,000 kilometers an hour. So they're traveling very fast. So it's not simple sending data to satellites, particularly they're traveling at that speed. So we've developed technology that allows us to transmit data to satellites 700 kilometers up in the sky, traveling at enormous speeds. And what we're doing, as I explained earlier, we're out introducing new spectrum bands, ISM to S-band to L-band, and we're keeping a step ahead of our competition as we start to roll out new technologies.
And when it comes to the market and how you sell, how many terminals and sensors have you rolled out?
So we're currently rolling them out at the moment. We've got orders for over 240,000 terminals and modules. And I want to sort of just focus a bit on that because that's about 94 million krona worth of orders we have at the moment. And once we deploy that 240,000 terminals and modules, they will generate up to $5 per month per device for the data part. That's over $1.2 million a month in reoccurring revenue. And that's where we'll start to see the real growth of Wyld, is when we start to get that data revenue coming in, and that's the reoccurring data revenue. And to give you an idea, we've got orders for 240,000 of these devices. We're shipping them into the field. Our view is that once we've got about 70,000 of those devices shipped, then we will then get to a position of going cash flow positive.
And approximately when will this be in time?
We suspect it's going to be sometime next year when we actually hit that position of getting the data revenue in that's going to take us to that position. And
can you give us any outlook? What should investors keep an eye on for the rest of 2024, for instance?
I think what investors should be looking at is, where are we in the rollout of our product? But I think investors really should be looking at, what Wyld Networks is actually doing. We're solving real-world problems. It's a real problem that we're solving. We're rolling out products, we're developing new product to stay ahead of the market, and I believe the space industry is going to be one of the industries that's really going to take off, and excuse the pun, it's going to rocket between now and 2030 as people start to look at other concepts of what we can do with space technology. And if I can just give one final example, we're working with the European Space Agency to basically look at how we can mesh satellites together in space, so we can connect satellites to satellites to satellites to create a mesh network of satellites. And this is quite important because this will allow the industry to reduce the amount of satellites it launches into space. So it makes satellite communications even more affordable.
Sounds fantastic. I'm really looking forward in following you in the time to come. So thank you so much for your answers and good luck going forward.
It's a real pleasure. It's good to meet you.